Thank you for joining us for the 2-minute drills. It's time to talk about the Mid-Valley Division Championship game going down this Saturday night, where we're not quite sure yet, but the kickoff, Miguel, will be at what, 7:30?
7:30 now, trying to convince him for 7.
So, okay, we're trying to move him to 7 to help us out, help those of us in the media out with our deadlines. I'm Aram Talegian behind the camera, San Gabriel Valley Newspaper Group football writer. On the left, a man that needs no introduction, Whittier Daily News Prep Sports editor Andrew Campa, and another man that needs no introduction on the right, Miguel Melendez, the Pasadena Star News Prep Sports editor. Guys, it's come down to your two zones to decide the Mid-Valley Division Championship. Monrovia 11-2, hosting somewhere we don't know. Whittier Christian 12-1. Let's get right into it. I mean, these two teams couldn't be hotter. Whittier Christian, Campa has won 7 straight games. Monrovia, Miguel, has won 10 straight.
Well, if you look at this matchup, Miguel, it's an interesting one because I really believe that these are the two best teams in this division. If you look at a lot of the other matchups there are a lot of upsets, a lot of number 3 seeds, 2 seeds in leagues that are playing.
Close games.
Close games. So you have 2 league champions, 2 teams that were highly touted going into the season and who've delivered on the promise of this year. And if you look at Whittier Christian and Monrovia, it's an interesting contrast in their seasons in the sense that Monrovia went out and had a great non-league schedule, a lot of big-time teams that you can talk about. Whittier Christian had 2 quality games on their non-league schedule. St. Margaret's and Cantwell, they split those games, and they went into the toughest league in that division, in my opinion. I agree. In the Olympic League, they had great wins over Village Christian, Valley Christian, Maranatha, who you take any of those 3 teams, and they probably finished second in the Rio Hondo League. But tell me about Monrovia and their chances tonight.
Saturday.
Or Saturday, excuse me.
I think you have to say that their chances are great. I mean, you have to say that this 10th appearance is finally going to give them a CAA championship that they've been longing for quite a long time now. You saw the dominant performance against San Dimas on Saturday. I mean, it got off to a real good start for both teams. Turnovers became an issue, but the thing that really did it for Monrovia was that they were able to capitalize on those turnovers and really separate themselves. I think it's not all that far-fetched to think that Monrovia is the favorite coming in, not just because they're the number 2 seed, but the way they've come about beating some of these teams, especially San Dimas on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about, the road to get here, guys. Monrovia in the playoffs has beaten Gladstone, sure, which was the Almont League champion, and San Dimas, which was the defending division champion. That's a pretty decent road, but I don't think it's as tough, Camp, as the one Whittier Christian faced, which was beating Bell Gardens, Covina, and then Village Christian. I think that's the slightly tougher road to reach the finals, and probably, even though they're on the road, has Whittier Christian as a slight favorite in this game.
Well, you know what? I'm going to have to agree with Miguel, and I think the Whittier Christian people wouldn't be slighted at all if I said I think Monrovia is a slight favorite going into this game. Hey, they're defending runner-up last year. They beat Whittier Christian last year, and until Whittier Christian beats them, that's the way it has to be. The one thing that does concern me about Monrovia, or should concern Whittier Christian fans about Monrovia, is that they really got their running game in order last week. And it's no secret, if you want to beat Whittier Christian, or you want to be at least competitive with Whittier Christian, you have to pound the rock. You look at the 2 teams that really did a good job of running the ball this year. Cantwell Sacred Heart with Jonathan Meza running for over 150 yards. I think overall the team had over 200 yards rushing. They got the win against them. And Village Christian, they had 2 games against them, 2 scares, in which Whittier Christian won by 3 points, and then last week in overtime, by 1 point. Abdul Hazen, their outstanding running back at Village Christian, had over 180 yards in both games. And that's how you beat them. I mean, there's no real secret there, and I'm not giving away anything that people shouldn't already know. So I think that's what makes Monrovia tough, is the fact that they can run the ball. But I will say, in one aspect though, Monrovia, I'm not sure, as good as the talent that they've played, I'm not sure they've seen a guy like Jeff Worthy, that outstanding nose guard, monster nose guard who's going to Boise State. He presents a lot of problems. He takes 2, sometimes 3 guys, and that's going to be the interesting matchup. Him against Monrovia's running back, and him against Nick Bueno, because Bueno's outstanding both in and outside the pocket.
Right. I think when you look at Monrovia, you mentioned their running game. I think the misperception all season long was that Monrovia was a one-dimensional team with Nick Bueno, and that all they had was Nick Bueno. And I think that because you saw what he did against Rio Hondo League teams, and you saw that he was really a one-man show throughout that part of the season, people thought, well, that's all they had. They had no other additional weapons. Well, the truth is they didn't need other weapons against the likes of Temple City, South Pass, or whatever it may be. They get to the playoffs, and guess what? They bring out all these other weapons. You got Jay Henderson at wide receiver. Christian Blanco had the game of his life last week, almost 180 yards rushing. I mean, they're finally showing you what the weapons in their arsenal, and they came out full-fledged last week against San Dimas. And you mentioned Jeff Worthy. That's going to be quite a battle to see how Nick Bueno can weather the pressure. And I think that if the pocket collapses, that's when we see Bueno at his best, is eluding those defenders. If you saw tape of last week against San Dimas, Bueno goes from one end of the sideline, runs around and gets to this side and gains, I think, a first down. I mean, it shows you that he can extend plays, he can get out of bad situations, and that's been his strength all year. And if Worthy, applies that pressure, I think we'll see him on the run.
All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's get the picks and why. Andrew, start us off.
You know what, Hiram, I really flip-flopped with this game. Even walking into the office, I was talking to Miguel about who I think is going to win this game. I see a lot of advantages on Monrovia's side, but I also see a couple of big ones on Whittier Christian's side. That's why I'm going to go with the Heralds on this one. I like that they have versatility on their offense. Their one key is, can they run the ball with Grant Escobar? They had an outstanding running back, Joel Roan, who's been battling hip injuries all year. He's in the game. He'll play in the game, as will Escobar, but it's going to be very tough. And I do like that Whittier Christian has a bunch of options on the receiving side. Look out for Cameron Stanley. He comes into this game with 85 receptions for over 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns. He's going to be a big factor.
I think that the one thing that we failed to mention was Monrovia's stout defense. I mean, they really were the key component in creating 6-7 turnovers against San Dimas. Derek Johnson, a linebacker, so such a punishing linebacker. Simarusi with an interception. Anthony Kraft, really, and Darius Jenkins. I mean, you can go on and on and on about the list of players they have defensively. And, of course, Ellis McCarthy, another guy you want to see who will win that battle on the defensive line. I mean, this is, if nothing else, this should be a great battle, another heavyweight matchup like we had last week. And I'm going to go with Monrovia, obviously, for the pick this week.
Okay, guys, I'll split the difference. I'm going to take Whittier Christian in this one. Again, I feel they took the tougher way in, Miguel. Bell Gardens, Covina, and Village Christian. Their league, undoubtedly, I admit it, was the best league, the Olympic League in the division. 2 semifinalists in Village and Whittier Christian. And I think that that's going to propel them. Monrovia goes to 0-10 in championship games. That's how I've got it. But nonetheless, stay tuned on the blogs this week to see where this game's actually going to be played. You can check on Miguel's blog, Andrew's blog, but we do know it's going to be Saturday night, most likely at 7:30 p.m. Guys, Mid-Valley Division Championship should be awesome. Monrovia against Whittier Christian. Enjoy it.